Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. So this is kind of crazy. We started doing this Wednesday write-in because we were trying to gear up for NaNoWriMo. And it ended up being like this super fun thing. And so we decided last week, everybody was like, yeah, let's keep going. So I think that that it's kind of awesome. So today I have two co-hosts. You may be wondering where Robert is. He actually was out. He's out today. He had a doctor's appointment. But I have two lovely co-hosts today. Carrow Brown, this is her first time with us.
Yes.
Yay. And hello, introvert Sarah. And we have Savvy from SAVY Writes Books. Links to both of their channels are below in the show notes in the description box. So I'm so excited because I don't know if you guys know, you might because we mentioned it for the last couple of weeks. Carol actually has a live stream about an hour after ours. And so we've been sending everybody who wanted to keep doing this afterwards. But I have found, so I had done live streams before, but not like for the whole time. And I was sort of shocked thinking that, and you guys tell me if you found the same thing to be true. I was sort of shocked that even running the live stream, that I was still as productive as I normally am in my most productive place, which is the beach. And I was more productive than I normally am in my office. So I don't know, how's your productivity when you do this, when you do the live streams?
Not
everybody answer at once.
No, I think when I was on your live stream last week, my productivity was crazy. Like I was like, this is so good. I think because like I was saying last week, when I'm writing around other people, I'm so much more productive than when I'm by myself, like in my office. Like I need to, be talking to other people and motivating each other and that kind of thing. So my productivity was so much more than usual.
Yeah, it's really, it was really like so surprising to me. So what about you, Carol? How long have you been doing this? Because you've been doing these for a while, haven't you?
I started doing these as like the substitute streamer because in my little group of people that I hang out with, we pretty much stream. Somebody streams once a day, right. And somebody would get sick, and then I would fill in, and then they were like, "Do you just want a slot?" And I was like, "Fine, I'll take a slot." So I've been doing this probably since March. Yeah, but that's when we had YouTube Hangouts, and then we moved over to this because YouTube Hangouts went away.
Right.
But I actually found that I really do look forward to these because, before I worked in a typical office environment, so I would get up and go and talk to people when I needed a break. And so
the extrovert's dilemma. Yes,
yeah.
Exactly. That's the same thing I'm feeling all the time. It's like I need to talk to other people to stay motivated.
Well, my problem is that I'm a dog with a bone, so if I start working on something, I'll work on it, I'll blink, and like 12 hours have gone by, and like I'm like, why am I so tired? I don't feel good, right?
Right.
So
that happens, and I'll be like, I forgot to eat today. What happened?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so the streams are really good for kind of giving me the social interaction, giving me breaks, and just kind of like sometimes, depending on whose stream is there, I usually ask the hive mind a question like, so how would you guys like use a wrench in this creative way? And then they just throw out all the things.
That's good. That's really good. All right. Well, we are going to start today. I know it is really fascinating. When you guys were talking about being extroverts in your own head all the time, I had not really thought about that. But when I first started writing, when I published my first book, I had worked in advertising before that, where it was just super social. And then when I wrote my first book, I ended up having a friend of mine, actually I didn't know her at the time. We met right after my first book came out and about 8 months after her first book came out. And we ended up like talking every single day just because we were both these like super extroverts that needed some human interaction. So that said, I do definitely like enjoy spending, 4 hours inside my own brain. Joe Ninja Hen is here.
Yay!
We're so happy you're here. You have not missed anything, Joan. We are just about to start our 5-minute warm-up. So let me do my little share screen. I will confess that I had like a super crazy day. I did not get nearly enough sleep last night.
Uh-oh.
And I took a nap right before this. And I took a nap right before this. So I'm running in here, like trying to get started on time. First time ever. Savvy and Carol already in the backstage area before I got here. So yeah, anyway. All right, everybody, let's get rolling. You know, sometimes it just goes like that. All right.
Oh, wait.
Oh.
What are they working on today?
Wait,
Sorry.
I don't know. We should find out, shouldn't we, before I start hitting that timer button? Let's go see Joan Ninja Hen. She also overslept. Me too, honey.
No, it's fine. I do too. Like, I haven't even finished my first coffee yet because I fell back asleep for a few minutes before this. So
right.
I think we're all sleepy today.
Are we all just, maybe instead of writing sprints, we should do napping sprints?
Oh, that'd be great.
Like power.
I don't know. I would probably not wake up from it in time.
Exactly. I know. I would, if I fall asleep again, I will be out for like another 17 hours. So, okay. So what is everybody working on? I don't know. I think people are just starting to straggle in, or else StreamYard is super behind today. So, anyway, so I am continuing to work on the project that I worked on for NANO. So I'm like 51, well, not even 51, like 50,006 words. So I literally stopped in the middle of a sentence and have not written since the 30th. So once I hit the goal, I was like, I need a break. So how about you guys? What are you working on today, Carol?
I'm working on making the business plan for work, so that way, because we're looking at publishing books next year, but I have to do some more research and do analytics and basically say why I'm right about doing certain things. So
that's one of my favorite things to do, is coming up with reasons why I'm right. Savvy, what are you, I think I know what you're working on. Tell us what you're working on, Savvy.
Well, okay, so I was working on, last week I was on the stream working on my business self-help book for NaNoWriMo, but I decided this week to take a break from that real quick because the other project that I had started for NaNoWriMo was me writing the sequel to Sculpt Yourself, and the reason I kind of stopped that and putting it off until Camp NaNoWriMo is that I need to like get more into the characters' voices. So my goal for today was just to do like different writing sprints in each of their voices, that not even the intention to include it in the book, just to kind of figure out each of their voices a little bit better. So I'm just like Googling random writing prompts right now and trying to assign them to the characters so that when we start, I can just write them in each of their voices. So that's kind of the goal for today.
All right, awesome. All right, so Joan, I have to figure out a way to not have the comments cover up your face.
Or you just click on it again.
There. Okay.
Yeah.
So Joan says this sleeping is typical behavior for me after big projects. I always have a sleep phase. That is true, right? It usually does not happen until after I finish a book, but I think the combination of like the NaNoWriMo and Thanksgiving being so close to the end of the month was just like, I just was like done. I needed a break. And I'll probably after today take another couple days and then go back. So, all right, everybody, let's roll. Here we go. Ooh, Introvert Sarah says she's also working on her NANO project. Mm-hmm. Good job. All right. Yay. Okay, everybody, let's get rolling. I'm putting 5 minutes on the timer. Here we go. All right. All right, everybody. How did your Mr. X says, what the hell's going on? Hi, Mr. X. Thank you so much for joining us. We're doing a writing live stream today. Thank you very much for showing up. This is, if you've never been to write-in before, we are doing word sprints. And that basically means that we set a timer for somewhere between 5 and 20 minutes. And everybody writes like the wind until until the timer goes off, and you'll be shocked at how productive you are. Like, it's insanely
amazing.
Right? It's insanely effective.
Yeah.
So that is what the hell is going on. But thank you for joining us, Mr. X. We're so happy you're here. All right. So we had asked questions earlier, right before we did the 5-minute sprint, about how what everybody was working on. So I think this is kind of, Joan says she's still working on her web fiction, which is awesome. How's that going? We want to know about that. Introvert Sarah also working on her NANO project. Okay, let me just say this. 26,000 words in a month is not losing. That is more progress than lots and lots of authors make.
Yeah.
Right? On any given book. 26,000 words.
This is the thing too. Like, I was thinking about the other day about how a month is kind of arbitrary, and like this is what I'm talking about in the YouTube video going up on my channel today in like an hour, which is that like last year I wrote a novel in 2 months. Like, the goal was like mid-September to mid-November because I was doing it with people from my grad school program.
Right.
And it was like it was still a lot of work, and it was like, it basically was the goal of like 25,000 words a month though, because we were writing it in 2 months, and that was still really fast. So it's like realizing that like if you write a novel draft in 2 months, you still wrote an awesome novel draft, you know, like 1 month. And that's the hard thing. Like, I failed NaNoWriMo too, but then I'm like, am I really a failure?
Are we calling it that? I don't know. I want to know everybody's comments. I think that if you even start it, because a lot of people never write. They go, "Oh, I want to write a novel." They never even write the first
often,
page,
yeah.
Right? Or they write 2 pages and then it goes in the drawer. So I think the fact that 26,000 words is a huge win. Introvert Sarah is here the day after. Well, not the day after. Feels like the day after. Whatever, couple days after, what's today, the 4th, after NANO, continuing to write her project. And I think that's one of the best things about this program, is that even if you don't make that 50,000 words, that you're often far enough and in the habit enough that you keep going, right? The first year I did it, yeah, I mean, I still had another, 25 or 30,000 words to go after I was done. But it gets you almost to that, if you're writing a called 75,000 word book, it gets you almost to the 3/4 mark. So
I've only ever succeeded once at NaNoWriMo, I think, like actually accomplishing the 50,000 in 1 month.
Well, I think if you start a book at NAN, everybody be taller so we can be above the comments. I think that if you start NANO and you finish the project, even if you finish it in, the next year, I think that's a win. Because that's a novel you probably would not have written otherwise. Okay, so Theo Savvy says, trying to finish book 2, you hit 50,000 words. Yay! That's awesome. But only up to chapter 14. So you're like a 100,000 word book, and you still have like a long way to go. They'll be working on world building. I think it takes longer too, right? I think it's easier to write, and Savvy, you can probably speak to this because you've been working on the nonfiction book. Way easier to knock out a nonfiction book, even though for NANO, in 30 days than it is to write fiction. And like for me, I write contemporary fiction, and set, in Sarasota, where I lived for 14 years. So I don't have to build a whole world. I know what the laws are. And I think if you're writing something like fantasy, then you have, it's way harder. I think I think there's like so much more to that. So, all right, let's see who else we've got. Danielle, yes, right? You're still a winner regardless of the number of words.
Yeah.
I think this participating is, and this is not like soccer participation trophy kind of thing. I mean, it's hard to write a book, right? Yeah. So just showing up every day, putting your best effort in, and taking that step towards your dream of becoming an author or publishing another book or whatever, whatever your own personal thing is, I think that's huge. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
I would agree.
Yeah.
I write nonfiction all the time for college, and I can usually hammer out like a 3,000 word essay in like 2 hours. So
right.
Yeah. The one exception for me is journalism, because there's like an article I have to finish today as well, but I'm not doing that for a writing sprint, because like pulling quotes and sifting through that is like, it's hard to write that while sprinting. It's like, I feel like it uses the other half of your brain, but writing nonfiction from my own perspective is definitely goes the fastest. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Right. You don't have to check any, I mean, you maybe have to check some facts, but for the most part, yes, it's all up in your head. It's a whole different thing. Yes, absolutely. So true. Aw, thank you, Carrow. You're so sweet. Very nice. Yay. Conscious truth. All right, let me just tell you a funny little story. So I was on do you guys know who Tim Schmoyer is? He's like this. Tim Schmoyer. He runs a channel called Video Creators. He seems like a thoroughly nice human being, right?
Okay.
And I got like a notice for his live stream yesterday. I went on that, and Conscious Truth and I ended up like having this like whole chat back. This whole thing is like completely about like building a YouTube channel, and we're like on this like in the chat talking about writing books and all this. So she said she was going to stop by today, and she did. Yay!
That's so sweet.
This is Carrow and Savvy. Very
nice to meet you,
and thank you for showing up today. It is funny how we meet people. Nihilist Geek is back. Hello. Geek. All right, so here's what we were talking about a little bit earlier. We were talking about what everybody is working on now, and since we had some people who just came in, let's answer that question again if you haven't already answered it. Nihilist, what are you working on now? Conscious Truth, what are you working on now? Jones says book bingo for web fiction and only got questions in the bulletin board. I don't know. So that's kind of awesome. So she's answering questions from a bulletin board, right? Am I understanding this right? And you're writing, you're using those essentially as a writing prompt.
Oh, that's cool.
I know, right? I've never heard of that.
Awesome.
It's very savvy. It's pretty awesome. Okay. Speaking of savvy, writers are magician, right? That's exactly true. We had to come up with something from nothing, a lot of somethings from nothing. And so, yeah. And I will say, okay, so I used to work in advertising. You work really long hours in advertising, and I would run around and I would work these 70-hour weeks. And when I finally, after much begging and proving of myself, got to be a junior copywriter, I would work much shorter weeks, like 40 hours, and I would go home wiped out. And the reason is because all that 40 hours was like brain work versus just chatting away if you're in account services. No offense to anyone in account services. All right, so Nihilist is finishing his nano. Good job, post-nano burnout. We feel you, baby. We're all there right now. Yeah. A bingo table. Oh, Savvy, can you explain this to us?
Oh, well, so yeah, the bingo thing that I did is there's, if you guys know the channel Cloud Kitten Chronicles, she's hosting a readathon called—
Oh, for the indie books, right?
Yeah, she's hosting throughout December. You're supposed to read indie books, and she made like a bingo board with different genres and different types of books, and they're all related to like holiday prompts. So it's like there's like a Rudolph prompt for like animal books, or there's like a mistletoe prompt for a romance book. So like all these things, and you have to try to get bingo on the board with the different books that you're reading. So I just put up a TBR on Monday for that, for like the different books I'm going to read for the readathon. So that was a bingo table that I did for that. I didn't know that there were like bingo tables with writing prompts, but that makes sense too. I should try that at some point. Yeah.
I love that. All right. When you do that, let us all know. Well, oh my gosh, we should totally do live stream bingo one day. Right?
That would be so fun. Yeah.
It would be. We should totally do that. All right. Okay. So Danielle's working on the mess that is her YA fantasy. You know what? They're all a mess until they're not. So there you go. Lots of obstacles from beginning, middle, end. Need to sort them out. This is the thing about Nano. Okay. So I will say that my writing is a lot cleaner when and I generally do about 3,000 words a day, but November is always a rough month for me. And so my nano work tends to need more editing than my regular work does. and I am right there with you. How about you guys? How'd your nano work turn out?
It came out pretty well. I finished one project and started working on another one. But I was mostly focused on trying to help everybody else kind of like stay organized for the live stream. So it was kind of like me just constantly checking in on people. Like, are you still streaming? Like, what are you doing? You didn't come. Like, people are asking me where you are, and I don't know where you are.
Right. You are, I think, I'm not sure. Like, you are like the room mom for like the authortubers who stream. And I say that in the nicest possible way, because like she had like this spreadsheet, so like try not to step on anybody else, which of course I did. Right. But here's where you can go. It was very helpful though, because when I was looking for other live streams during Nano, it was easy to find because I could just go to your spreadsheet. So
they have another one for December because there's the unofficial December Nano that's going on. So I just made another one and put it in there. And I'm like, go find your friends. Go.
Yeah, that's good. All right. We'll have to check that one out. Okay. So actually later, if you want to send me a link to it, I will, I'll put it down in the comments below. So you guys, if you have not already checked out Carrow's channel and Savy's channel, they are definitely worth checking out. I have put the links down below, and you guys should definitely go check them out and subscribe, because both of them have absolutely fantastic perspectives and super fun videos. So, and Carrow does a ton of live streams, which is great. All right. Conscious Truth says, I keep writing a prisoner. Fingers crossed you'll write me back. All right, this is interesting. A family annihilated Christmas. All right, that sounds good. That's pretty dark. Very cool. All right, good. All right, let's see. Joe Ninja Hen. No, well, bingo is a common game. I'm new to this whole thing. I mean, I like lurked around AuthorTube for a long time before I started the channel, but I think I missed the whole bingo thing. I think there's lots of fun.
Oh, that's cool. I'll have to Google that, because that sounds like a fun way to try this. Yeah. Well,
yeah,
thanks for about it. I love it. Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, good. Joan is all about the web fiction. She like knows a ton of stuff about that. All right, everybody. We are going to get started with our first 20-minute sprint. I will put the let's see what I've got here.
And then I put that link in the private chat for you.
So perfect. All right, so I'll put it down in the description right after the stream. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right, here we go, everybody. I'm going to start the timer now. Let's get rolling. It'd be nice if you guys could see it. There we go. All right, we're not restarting. Like, you did so great on that 20 minutes. Let's go for another 20 minutes. Run away. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So how'd everybody do on that one?
Good.
Yeah. I am low today. I got like 155 words. That said, I also posted a little bit on social media to get people over here.
That's fair. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So I could probably add an extra 35 words to my grand total, but yeah. So I'm slow, and I think that happens like whenever you're trying to kind of get back in the swing of things. I'm not ready for my break to be over. I think I need a couple more days. How do you do?
I did pretty good. I finished typing the genres that the company wanted and how that looked, and started moving into the I understand by publishing blah 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 stuff. So
all right, well that's good. How'd you do, Savvy?
So mine's a free write, right? So I did a writing prompt for one of my characters whose voice I was struggling to figure out, and it was like, write a letter to your 14-year-old self.
Right.
So that helped me figure out a lot about her backstory. So I got like 1,300 words, but it's like, it was not like, none of this is going in the actual book. So it was like 100 words of me rambling. It wasn't like
consciousness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a zero draft. It's the character
Exactly.
zero draft.
A zero draft. That's what it is. Yeah.
There you go. I think that's a great way to put it. Okay, so Savannah started a new Christmas novel yesterday. I love that.
Exciting.
So I posted I posted like here it is. So Eva says, sounds fun. I have she has a plan on a dozen back burners for a holiday romance. I have the same thing. This is actually my goal one of my goals for this year is to write one of those movies. And I'll tell you why. Because as much as I do find them a little bit cheesy, I love them. And I think it would be really, sort of fun just to kind of stretch that way. And I love rom-coms anyway. That's kind of where I live. So, yeah. So I think that's great. That's something that you're looking at doing. Eva, how back burner is it? Is it something like in the next year, the next 6 months, the next 5 months, or just randomly something you would like to do? So let us know about that. Joe Ninja Hen is kicking butt today. 322 words.
Very nice.
Right? I think you're doing really well. Introvert Sarah 166. Yay! That's awesome. Eva says, love me some zero draft.
That's a great term. I'm glad I learned that. That's what I'm going to call what I'm writing today. Yes, zero draft.
Well, and there's a lot of work of being an author that does not involve actually writing the book, right? And yet it's still all work.
I'm about like 10,000 words into the first draft, but I didn't write any zero draft before it, so I'm a little bit stuck on some of the voices, so this is really helping.
Right, and plus, doesn't it make you sound cool? I've been in this business for 15 years. I've never heard that term. So
it's because it's always changing, because you get like OCD people like me who are kind of like, well, explain how this process works. Break it down. Like, I need a name for this. Here's a box. Put your way you work here. That's you can blame people like me.
I think it's
the same way. It's understandable.
Right? I think it makes you feel productive even when you're not getting words done towards the final, to your final project. Danielle, 525.
Nice.
Killing it on Nano Burnout. Nice job. Nihilist Geek is editing a video halfway through. You guys should check out Nihilist Geek's channel. I will I will remember to link to it down in the channel. Anybody really, you guys, like, send me a note and remind me, and I'll put a little, because we have a nice little group here, so I feel like you should know anybody that you don't already know. Yes to rom-coms. Oh my gosh, Joan, I owe you a book. I will send it to you. Sorry, I was gonna say I didn't forget, but that's like, I had it sort of on a post-it note. I did forget. I know that it's like one of those things where I go, oh, I got to do that. But then I keep writing on Nano. So, okay. Organizing your life and schedule. Right? Yeah. Don't we all need a little bit of that?
Yeah.
Guys? So I always feel especially with Thanksgiving this year, right at the end, I feel like I'm still sort of a little chaotic. You guys have that feeling?
Yeah. Even like, at work, I manage everybody else's time, and so that way their stress is bad. But they call me out. It's like, how do you manage your time? I'm like, however, and they're kind of like, no, if you do this for us, you have to do it for you too. And I'm like, fine.
Right.
So.
That does not shock me at all that you manage everyone else's time.
It's my job. I'm an operations director. It's my job to know what everybody's doing, where they're at, and everything else. That's because sometimes people were like, you put so much effort into the spreadsheet, and I was like, no, like I really didn't. This is what I do.
That's awesome. Okay, when I decided AuthorTube's Cordy was a fun character in herself. She's the star.
Cordy's funny. I like Cordy's channel.
That's like so meta. All right. Oh, and she knows it. She can totally love it. I think that's awesome. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. No stress. Take your time. Oh, thank you. I'll try and write myself another Post-it note. Can I use that second Post-it note as part of my word count?
Yes. All words matter, as I like to say.
That's right. All right, everybody, let's get rolling on our second. Here I have to set the timer back a little bit because I came over here thinking I'm starting it, and oh no, it starts going again. Here we go. All right. Okie dokie. All right, everybody, get ready for 20 more minutes. Here we go. Oh. Savvy, you're killing it. Got it. All right, here we go. Woo. I'm gonna put this way. I feel like I don't want to talk till she finishes. Okay, so Giorgio Sullivan just popped in. Thank you very much for coming by. We're so happy.
Hi, I think, sorry, my mic was off.
Oh, that's okay. That's totally okay. I think this is funny. So Eva's writing the rom-com starring QWERTY, and which is, I think, is like hilarious. So she's taking name recommendations. So if any of you have a good name, or how about some good advice for how you pick names for your characters?
I'm terrible with names. I'm so bad with names. Sometimes I'll look at a baby book and decide there, or I'll ask my writing wife. I can't find a good name. She's like, yeah, that name sucks. Try this one. I'm like, that's the name now. So
that's good. It's good to have somebody do that. I would definitely check out like the baby name site, especially if I'm looking for some, if I always end up with some octogenarian in my books, and so I always want to find names that are sort of age appropriate, but still a little creative and different. Just not something, you would never find a 90-year-old whose name is Brandy with an I. So right. So I always want to do that. How about you, Savvy? How do you pick names?
How do I pick names? Oh, that's hard. I don't actually know how I pick names. I just
they just
I should think about them more because I pick names all the time.
I think it depends on the time period as well, because a couple weeks ago at the writing workshop that I go to, somebody made a character with like a name, and I was like, that's not a name that was around in that time period, and so we had to look it up, and sure enough, it was something that kind of populated like a lot more in the 1960s and the 1800s. So
right, I know.
Most of what I'm writing is contemporary, so I guess I just pick names, I guess at random almost. Yeah, I don't know.
That's interesting. I always think it's I think that the census list of the most popular, the 300 most popular baby names for each sex of 1929, I find those so helpful.
Yeah,
really helpful. I do have one weird naming story. Excuse me. When I was first, when I wrote my first novel, 15 Minutes of Shame, I needed a name for the male character, and I went through like 15 different male names, and I couldn't find anything that I really liked. I wanted something that was a little bit unique, but not too weird. And I could not think of it. And my friend Lisa McLeod, who's she advises all these CEOs on their businesses, and she's this superpower woman, but she also is very kind of woo-woo. And she'd kill me for saying that. And she said, just tell the universe you need a name. And it was flying into LaGuardia to do a media thing, and I was going down the escalator, and there's a guy, a driver, who's standing there with a sign that says Holt on it. And I used to live down the street from a kid named Gregory Holt, and I thought, ooh, I should just switch that around. So the main love interest in 15 Minutes of Shame ended up being Holt Gregory. So that's my weird name.
There you go.
Right? I know, but it was it was so funny because Lisa was like, oh, it'll just come to you. And I literally get on the escalator 2 minutes later, and I had struggled with this for months. I get on the escalator, I go down, ta-da, there's a sign. Literally a sign from the universe.
I love it.
So how about you guys? I really am so flaky today. So how have you guys come up with names? I want to hear about that. How did everybody do on this last writing sprint also?
I did pretty good. I had some dog aggro. My girl dog under the desk, she's got a noise phobia, and the garbage truck is going around, so she probably might laugh for a while. Yeah. I was actually I was just thinking about it because all the characters that I really like in my works, I actually have them kind of abstract named after like people who are important to me.
Mm-hmm.
And also other works that I really respect. So like in my book, I have a character named David Cooper. So David is actually, I got that name from my grandfather, whose name is David, and I really respect him a lot. And then Cooper is actually the last name of a character from a different book that I really liked. So, but when I put them together, it didn't sound too weird. So I was like,
that's fantastic.
yeah.
Right? That's great. Yeah, that's my first same book, 15 Minutes of Shame. The main character's last name is Vaughn, which was my grandmother's name. So it's kind of fascinating. Yeah. All right, that's cool. All right, I want to hear what everybody is thinking. Georgie says she has to do research for names. What does it mean? Where does it come from? Derivatives. That's another really good way to pick names, to sort of choose something that has that meaning that, you know, like my son's name is Quinn, and that means wise. And it's funny because he sort of turned out to be that kind of personality. So that's a really good tip, Georgie. Introvert Sarah uses research or a list where she collects names that she hears and likes. I do the same thing too. I have like sort of a little booklet of names, like they're names with no characters attached. But and then for minor characters, I often name, at least their first names, I will often name them after people that sort of remind me of that person. All right, let's see. I have to invent nicknames and use Google Translate. Okay, that's cool.
That's really very brave of you.
Right? Because Joan's a native German speaker, right? Is that right? So, oh my gosh, how funny is this? That's awesome. No, that's interesting that you really like naming in your fantasy stories, but not so much in your contemporary work. That's really interesting. Why do you like, I mean, yeah, tell us. I'm not going to just assume, you're right here. Tell us why you like naming in fantasy, but not in modern stuff. That's kind of cool. Jasmine, Jazz. I actually know a Jasmine who goes by Jazz. I bet a lot of Jasmine go by Jazz. All right, regular names. I always like to mostly, like usually my main characters have sort of a little bit of a different name, but my sort of ancillary characters all have kind of boring names because you really want your main character to sort of stand out in a variety of ways. All right, cool. All right, you guys. So how did everybody do? Okay. How many languages do you speak, Joan? You're amazing. If you go watch Joan's channel, and you should, she's funny. I love Joan. If you watch Joan Ninja Hen, you will be kind of blown away because she's pretty awesome. But what the heck? Are you serious? I can't even say this. Is this Swahili? Is that what you're saying? Or is this a really different language I'm not even familiar with?
Yeah, that's Swahili.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Google Translate. I do use that on a pretty regular basis. But there are some things like cultural things that are sort of just off. All right. Looked up names from around the world that I like, use a bunch of cool names, and then learn voice to text. It does hate minorities. I think it, well, I don't know that it hates minorities.
No, yeah. Like,
yeah, I think so it's a real problem.
I used to teach, right? And one of the, I did not make this name up. Okay, don't judge me. But one of the tests that we use to assess for special needs is called the Woodcock-Johnson. Did not make that name. Didn't make that name. And I would always argue the phonics of this test because it tests for a lot of different academic areas, but it also tests for pronunciation. And so the specialists who would do all the speech needs and stuff would be like, well, they clearly have a speech problem. And I'm like, no, they're Black and that's how they talk. Like, there's nothing wrong. She's enunciating just fine. It's like, well, according to the test. I was like, the test is racist. Okay.
They are. And you know, it's so funny.
Is never going to be right for everything. And that's so weird.
No,
the test said this. It's like, okay, but like, we're humans. We don't always fit into a test. We're not robots.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly. And people have different experiences. I know it's certainly things like IQ tests definitely favor white males for sure.
Yeah, so there's no good test, and it always comes like I used to get so frustrated because I would go into like these meetings and I would have to advocate, like, so for like my last school, the passing grade for all the classes was a D, but for the Woodcock, that was in order for that to be a passing score, it had to be a C. So I'm like, you're holding the kids up to a standard that the school's not holding up. So of course they're going to show up as having some kind of thing. Like, this doesn't make any sense. It's like, well, we're going to go ahead and give them an IEP. I'm like, stop! Stop! Sorry. Teacher problems.
I know. No, it's super frustrating, though. It really is super frustrating. Okay, so Eva says fantasy has a lot of names taken from native and indigenous language, what you could find out. That's cool. That's a very cool idea. Danielle used baby nameless. I do too. I think that's sort of the standby for anybody who writes contemporary stuff. Danielle, what do you write? Now let's keep for nicknames, but it can only end up hilarious. Well, you know what though? You should save that. I have like one of my favorite things at the end of the editing process is when your line editor sends you like basically the book Bible. It says like, this is how we spell fuck up. This is like, is it 2 words or 1? This is
the continuity
our community standard for the word fuck up. And so I love that. And I actually meant to like publish it. I should do that in a YouTube video sometime. My last book was hilarious. There were so many bizarre words, and just to see that in this like official, document about all these crazy things. So character background, CO Savvy says you have to also consider character background as well. Huge difference between Tom Little and Thurston Livingston III.
Names are hard, guys.
Names are hard. Wait, when I read Thurston, I was thinking Thurston Howell III. Oh, I remember that. Gilligan's Island. I'm older than you are, so maybe. All right. Ooh, nicknames in Greek. That's hilarious. That's cool. A really good idea. All right. Good. Okay. Okay. So Nihilist Geek says assign a real world culture to every fantasy culture and then change some letters or invent some new ones. That's a good idea. That's a really good idea.
It's a good way to get your characters or get your audience involved because they'll be able to relate to it more.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I think that's fantastic. All right. So Danielle, YA fantasy and mystery. I do want to write contemporary. Yay, we're excited to hear about that. Chris Vox has a great video on names. All right, I'll check that out.
Chris Vox is amazing. I love Chris.
Really?
I don't talk to him.
I have one of his books, I think.
He is really knowledgeable about self-publishing stuff. Like, he came out with a rapid release book for people who can do that. Obviously, it's not for everybody's jam, but he's so honest and transparent about like everything that's involved with it. He's just a huge plethora of like resources to be used. I love his channel.
All right.
Hashtag Carrow approved.
Yeah. All right. That's fantastic. Speaking of Carrow and Savvy, you guys, their links to their channels are down below. If you do not already subscribe, run over there after the stream and go do it. This is bothering me why I cannot manage to figure out how to be in the middle of the screen. All right. Sorry. Oh. I'm a dork. All right. Okay, everybody. Are we ready for another 20-minute sprint?
Yes. Yeah. Sprint.
Here we go. Let's get started. All right. Okay, so how'd everybody do on that one?
I did more market research. That's what I did.
That's good. I have I got 331, not at all my normal pace, but I just feel like very enthusiastic to have accomplished anything at all today. Savvy, how are you doing? How'd you do on your letter?
I got 870.
You're insane.
None of it's going in the book though. This is just me rambling. So
I know.
It's not like 870 good words. It's just like words.
Right. I know, that's true. I'm a pretty terrible typist, so even when I'm really flying, I'm still not like going as fast as I could.
This is nice because normally if I want to be productive, I go write in public, and so I don't like to take my laptop because normally I use a desktop computer. So I just bring like a notebook, and my writing speed is so much slower because I just handwrite everything. And I'm like, I'm not gonna handwrite.
No.
Like I like it sometimes, but right now it's just it's so much slower.
No. So there was a funny thing that we did not show. There was like a funny conversation between Nihilist Geek and Joe Ninja Hen. So he says, do some nicknames in Greek and I'll translate them back for extra hilarity. She says, hold my beer. I've had this, so we talked about this fantasy culture. He assigns a real world culture to a fantasy culture, changes some names. He also had another suggestion. Wait, what was it? Oh, here it is. For fantasy names, add an L, R, S, A, and Y in any combination.
Yeah.
Right? That's one of those things you're like, wait, that's totally true. All right. So introvert Sarah got 223. Nice job. Nice work, Joe. Ninja Hen 271. Nihilist Geek killing us all with 506. Very good. Good job, Danielle. Awesome. Awesome. Oh, this is interesting. So Sarah says she's getting a better picture of her witch's fae magic. So tell us a little bit about that. I want to hear about that. Spelling corrections on Nano. That can take forever, right? Because you're doing so much, like the speed. I usually write pretty cleanly, but I find in November for Nano that my writing is not quite as clean. I'm not sure because I actually write, generally I produce like at the same or a faster speed when I'm just writing in my normal, with my normal work. But I think it has something to do with, I'm writing every day for Nano and I do not write every day. Like I usually write during the week, but I don't generally write on the weekends. So, all right, that's cool. All right. Haven't found a Greek nickname on my list. Okay. All right. I have to know how this ends up. So I do want to say, like, if you are lurking today,
Lurk.
Right, if you're lurking today, I'm going to put links to everybody, all of our regulars. I'm going to put links to your channels in the show notes afterwards. So if you're lurking, and you're a regular, and if you're here this long, then you really are, here. But if you're lurking now and you feel like you want to like send me a note or write in the comments or something, I'll add you to the list. All right. You got the great translation right. If it sounds like a medical,
it's accurate.
That's so true. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. So we have like 9 minutes left, so we can do one of two things. We could do a short sprint, 10-minute sprint. B, we could do another 20-minute sprint and go a little over our time, have a little bonus time if you guys are up for that. Or we can just chat it out for the last 9 minutes. Up to you guys.
What do you want to do?
Yeah, let us know in the comments. Okay, Brenda A is lurking. All right.
Brenda. I love Brenda.
Nice to see you. Thank you, Brenda. All right, hold on. We're going to go back to Sarah. Main character is a witch with dormant fae magic that interferes with her normal witchcraft. Exiled for it and later cursed by a rogue creature. Ooh, that sounds intriguing. All right, that's good. Thanks. All right, Brenda, we're so glad you're here. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. I love your somebody help me with the word. Writers, please help me with this word. The little circle, her
Avatar.
thank you. Oh my
Oh,
God.
yeah.
I really need some sleep. I am generally not this sleepy.
Yeah, me too. My brain is so dead right now.
I know, right? It really is. I will say, so here's the thing, like I'm only 50, now I'm like 50, almost 51,000 words into this book. And I feel like I'm at the end. Like I generally after I finish a book, I like go through a period of like a couple of weeks or a month, depending on what I've got due, where I don't really do anything. I sort of refill my brain. You know, I go see a lot of movies and do fun things and reconnect with friends and all of that stuff. And so I feel like I have had that end of the book experience, but I am not done yet. I still have like another 25,000 words to go. So anybody else feel like that? Just me. I think we
Always
all
writing.
burned
Always
out.
writing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Avatar. Thank you, Joan. Seriously, terrible. All right. Are you guys ready? Is anybody, I don't have any comments here about whether or not we should keep going for another 20-minute sprint, do 10 minutes, or just chat away for now the last 7 minutes. Thoughts?
Usually folks have like questions about publishing. I'm surprised nobody's asking.
We are here. Look, we'll answer your questions.
I know, right?
Thank goodness Carrow's keeping us all on track today. It's certainly not going to be me. All right. If we were doing napping sprints, I could keep us on track for that.
Oh,
Napping
same.
sprint.
Yeah,
My dog's
exactly.
napping right now. He's had a napping sprint the entire time.
That's
Killing
great.
it at a napping sprint.
Yeah.
All right. So if you have publishing or writing questions, ask us anything. We have 6 minutes to go. Let's see if we get any questions. Okay. So Georgie says, enjoying the break combos using sprints to power through tedious tasks.
Jeez.
Wherever you're here, we're glad you're here. So that's very good. She is the live sprint veteran. Carrow is like the queen of the sprint. Well, of course she's the queen. She holds the spreadsheet. So
I'm just the holder. I'm like the herald. Like sprints are coming.
right?
Yeah, I would actually say that Tamara Woods and Sarah would be the veterans because they've been doing it for like years. Like when I first started, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Tamara was like, it's okay, come here. And I was like, thank you.
Yeah, I need to do more of these. I mean, I'm totally new at this. I did the first writing sprint live stream last week, was the first one I ever did. So I'm loving these. I'm going to start attending all your streams whenever I can now.
Oh, that's so fantastic. Well, it's so funny because like I had made the decision that I was going to do writing sprints every week in November, and I decided to do them Wednesdays just because I thought, well, it's Wednesday, you get that nice invitation. So that was my plan, but I also thought I'd never done them before, and I thought it would be really fun to do it with like my first people that I sort of connected with on AuthorTube. And so and I was watching a video on Savy's channel, and she literally, and I was like, I need to reach out to people to collaborate and think, you know, I had my little list of my 4 people. I'm like, I got to do this. I'm like, but I'm new to it. It's like the first time I've ever done it. And so I'm like, how do you even approach people about that? And so the guy with the sign in the airport, Savy's like, if anybody wants to collaborate on a live stream, and I'm like, me.
Yeah, I always want to collaborate because I love doing things with other people. The fact that there's this awesome community here is like my favorite part of all of this.
It is. It's so awesome. I mean, it's really like, I don't know if it's because of the video, you really feel like you get to know people better. I almost feel like this experience is like when you go to like a writer's convention and you like super bond with the people that you are there with for the week or whatever. And a lot of times like the people you meet at conferences end up being your friends forever.
Yeah.
And that is like, I feel like this is sort of like the online experience of that. And while I think Twitter and Instagram and all that are fun, I don't feel as like deeply connected.
Yeah.
Unless I already know the people. Whereas here, I feel like I know all these people. And
I think that's the thing with like YouTube. You can like, you talk out loud. You can see the person's face, and like Twitter, Instagram. I guess on Instagram you see pictures, but it's not really them talking to you. So this is like more like human interaction, which I like. Yeah.
Right. It's like we're almost alive. Yeah, this is so good. Oh my gosh.
Zora has a question.
Thank you. Who had a question? Okay. Savvy is, the stream jumpers. How many beta readers do you guys have or had? Thank you, Zora, for the great question. I appreciate it. Okay, Savvy, you want to answer that first?
Sure. I think it depends on the book. A lot of the past couple books that I've written, I've had, I want to say like maybe 10 or 15, because I would bring them to classes. Like I had my writing critique groups, which have like 5 or 6 people. And then I would also bring them to classes at school, because I was in school up until a couple months ago. So I would bring them to classes for like a writing workshop and that kind of thing, and get a bunch of other people's feedback from that. For the novel that I'm working on, like the Sculpt Yourself sequel, I'm actually looking for beta readers right now, specifically because I'm writing from different perspectives. Lisa wants to be a beta reader. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, generally I try to find like 10 or so people. I don't want it to be like too many, because I can't handle the logistics of that, but I don't want it to be not enough that I don't get a wide range of ideas and feedback. So yeah, 10, 15.
Okay. That's interesting. How about you, Carrow?
It kind of depends, because so I go to a writing critique group on Wednesdays, and there's anywhere between like 5 and like 15 people there on a given week. So sometimes some of my pages will get 15 people, and sometimes I'll get like 5.
Yeah.
For those stuff that I do at work, we actually have a team of 10 beta readers who I call them the beta wolves, because they just go in there and just rip stuff up. There's no mercy in there. Yeah. So there's 10 there. For my Faye Black work, though, I've only got 5 beta readers, because that's a very small niche. And so the people that I recruit for that are people who are part of that niche. So that's kind of like something else that kind of affects who your beta readers are. Like, for example, if the story I wrote for Faye Black a couple weeks ago, if I gave that to one of my friends, she'd have an intervention and like take me to church and like try to like get the demon out of my soul. Like, so you can't.
That's interesting. So for me, I had my first book, which was nonfiction, published with not one single beta reader ever. Like, literally just went out into the world, and so no filters. And I guess I'm lucky that it worked out pretty well. For my first novel, I had like 3, and they were Lisa McLeod, who I mentioned earlier, who is incredibly perceptive about people stuff. She is one of those people where if there are any false notes emotionally in your writing, she will call you all, she'll just completely call you out on that. Mm-hmm. And that was really something I struggled with, right? Like that I wasn't, at least with my first book, that I wasn't sort of just pouring it all onto the page. Like my character was not, almost like not truthful enough, or not like too guarded. I guess not truthful is not really fair, but too guarded. And especially for inner monologue, right? Because we're all a disaster up there, I think, sometimes. And so my first novel was Lisa McLeod, my mother, and my aunt. And they actually wrote on a single, I had Lisa's notes on like a Word document, but my mom and my aunt read the book while we were all on vacation in Mexico. And I have like a 3-ring notebook that has their handwritten notes. Like, this made me laugh. I love this.
Yeah, those are good notes.
Right. My Aunt Jerry, who we call her Crazy Aunt Jerry, but it's a good kind of crazy. She's like, was a lot more, she was a lot harder on me. And my mother just really, I could just say anything. And I think it's good to have like the person that like really like tears everything apart, or really just, calls you on any BS that you have. And then also I think it's good to have like the person that, that is supportive of your work.
I noticed too, like I have my mom read everything. Well, with like my kids' books, she gives good feedback. But then when I have her read like my novels, generally that's just for her to be like, this was hilarious, I loved it. But I don't take a lot of feedback. Mom, if you're watching this, I apologize. I don't take a lot of feedback, because generally it's like,
hi Mom,
I think you should watch your language. I think this was too vulgar. I think this might hurt, like offend someone or gross someone out. It's like, you're not the audience for this. Don't worry.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But then I have my husband read everything too, because he actually does a good job of staying objective, which like he gives me a lot of criticism, which is good. Like that's what I'm looking for. But I'll show him I'll even show him like my videos before I put them up, and he'll be like, your camera's not in focus on this frame. Like you need to zoom in more here. Like you need to I'm like, okay, thank you.
I think we're with the same guy.
It's because I know I can get feedback. So it's a nice resource to have.
It's really good. I do think it's really important. I will say, like with my first book, 15 Minutes to Shame, I had gone to, because I just moved to like a new town, and I really like wanted to meet other writers in the community. And I went to like a writing group at like someone I met said, oh, you should go. We come every week. And the book had already, like, it was already the process of being published, and it was run by like a local newspaper publisher, and then there were some other writers there, and I got some really varied and sort of insane comments on the right, and I left there. It was very helpful in the sense that I left there thinking I should not ask for writing feedback from people who don't
don't read your genre.
Yeah, that's so true.
Right. And some people have sort of a natural ability, to do that, whether they've been published or not. But you had an entire group of non-published authors, and the feedback was and a lot of it was sort of like red pen syndrome, where they really wanted to say, not that the draft was perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but a lot of it was like stuff that wasn't.
You can get, I did, like, not plugging myself, I did do a video about writing groups and about how sometimes feedback is really weird.
That can happen.
Yeah, usually when.
All right, send me the link to the video, okay? And I'll put it down in the show notes. Plug away.
Okay. But like a really good example about what you're talking about is anytime that I am about to do feedback or beta read somebody's stuff, I always ask who your target audience is, because you kind of need to know. But that also changes the way that I give feedback. So for example, if a book is written for young adults, I'm going to be looking at it as a young adult versus, adult fiction, stuff like that. It's been years. A couple years ago at my group that I go to, we had this lady that came in. She was very eccentric. And she just didn't like stories that had a strong male lead, and she thought they were, misogynist and all this other stuff. And at one point when she was was very adamant and just yelling at this guy who wrote this story. And we're like, look, you're not the target audience. You clearly are not going to read this. And she's like, no, he's going to hear what I have to say. I was like, we normally don't tell people to go, but you need to go.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's hard like that. I think now, like, my significant other, also a writer and a really good writer. And so I have him read, and also some other author friends read now, but it's still a pretty small group, like 5, 6, 7 people. Mm-hmm. But I think what you just said is really important, and do send me the link to that video, because I want to post it below. Who you are getting feedback from is super important. Super important.
Yeah, because I've had some people that are kind of like, hey, I'm writing this kind of book. Do you think you can beta read it? I'm like, I am really not your target audience. I'm going to come in there and be like, I don't understand this. And I
barely read any fantasy, and I know a lot of people write fantasy, and people ask me to read for it. And I'll read over it if I'm friends with you or whatever. But like, the fact is, I'm not going to give the best feedback on that, because I don't know anything about the genre or the tropes or anything.
Right. I know. I think it really does. I think it really matters. It's like, and certainly there are some people that read, fantasy and romance and mysteries, but people tend to be really loyal to, one genre over another. Yeah. And if you don't read that, first of all, like with fantasy in particular, there are some like rules that you might not, that you might sort of not.
Yeah. So I'm just like, what is this thing? This was never explained. And it's like, oh, that's just a thing that exists in fantasy.
Right. That everybody knows about it because you don't read it. Right. And you don't want to, it's hard enough to sort of combine all that feedback anyway. And I always find that, like, sometimes people just catch stuff that you would not have noticed, or there's some continuity issues. But I think also, like, if you have you've got 5 or 7 beta readers, and they say like like the same theme over and over again, you go, okay, that's something that I should definitely take a look at.
Yeah, and when you do have beta readers, it's really important to keep them because they're really good. you will find that if you have a book that people really like, that beta readers will volunteer themselves for like your other work. So like some of the folks who read my first book said that they wanted to beta read the other ones, and that's really good because they'll know your universe and they'll know your characters and they'll call out that BS. I would still encourage to get people who haven't read your other works to read it too, because they'll ask some of the questions that new readers will ask, and I think that's really important to take into account.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
So, okay, so Jay says somebody wanted me to beta read his courtroom drama. I've never read one of those before. Right. So if this is not a genre, and of course you're going to be able to pick out things like, like writing that's not really clear, or if they have problems with multiple points of view, you'll be able to pick out writing things. But if you're not, unless you're an attorney who just doesn't like courtroom dramas,
right,
you're probably going to miss some things that other people wouldn't. That said, I do think it's always really a good idea to have some, variety in what it is that you're in your beta readers' experiences. Because if you write, courtroom dramas and all of your readers are only people who read courtroom dramas, certainly you'll get some good feedback from that, but they will maybe miss something that a romance writer or a mystery writer would pick up on that you could use to improve your book. So
yeah, and I guess one thing I want to tack on to that, because this is something that I've actually seen on the rise, and it kind of makes me do the arched eyebrow, is that normally beta readers do this service for free.
Right.
They do it for free. And like at my company, we don't really pay our beta readers, but we do give them like gift cards and like discounts on stuff to show our appreciation for, them going through everything. And the only reason I'm bringing that up is because I'm seeing a lot of advertisements for beta reading services.
Yeah, I've been weirded out by that too a little bit.
Yeah, that doesn't.
I thought beta reading was like you exchange manuscripts with each other, you give each other feedback. So more like a it's not like paying an editor. I didn't think it was
Well, and the other times, and the other thing about this, so yes, absolutely, writers give really good, other writers, other authors give really great, generally, will give really great feedback, but also, readers, people who really love the genre, also love to get those early drafts of book. Don't you love to be like the first person to read like a year before it comes out?
Yeah.
They really enjoy that, and I think the people that you want to read your stuff are people who really love the genre, or people who really know writing and know the genre, and people who can give you that really super valuable feedback. I would feel really uncomfortable about paying I just wouldn't pay a beta reader. And I always think about it like, have any of you ever like judged a writing competition?
Yeah.
Okay, right. So I think it would feel like that, where you have to read all like 12 manuscripts, and even if it's in a genre that you like and know and love, sometimes you end up with books that feel like they're really out of place, and maybe you're not the best reader for that. But because you're all in the same category, you have to read all those books, and so I think it's like genre savvy readers are key. Yes.
But yeah, I just wanted to mention that because I'm like, y'all need to stop that.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird when I see like beta reading service, 2 cents a word or whatever they charge it. It's like, that's odd.
No, I'm going to say stay clear of that. I'd also stay clear of any agent that tries to charge you. The agent get a percentage of what they sell your work for. You do not pay them up front. They do not pay them a reading fee.
Well, what about sensitivity readers? Because I've seen people charging as sensitivity readers. I'm not sure how to feel about that, because I
have thoughts about sensitivity readers, and they're not good thoughts.
And I know that might be like a whole different like ball game we're opening up, but I do want to have people do like some degree of sensitivity reading for the manuscript I'm working on right now, just because I'm writing from so many different perspectives, and I want to make sure that like people who have things in common with certain perspectives that I'm writing can tell me if I got anything wrong. But I don't want to pay someone for that. I don't know if that makes me a jerk, because I believe
because like my thing is like,
I don't know if I should just find like people who are interested in looking at it that way too. I don't know.
My thing is that if it's insensitive, the beta readers are going to point it out. Like, that's always been my thing. And that's
true. Yeah, that's
and I have like soapbox. I have a really big issue with sensitivity readers just because they're coming in and they're basically making all books PC, because at the end of the day, a book will always offend somebody. You can't make everybody happy. It's just gonna happen. And
but
if somebody doesn't like your book, then they're just not going to read it, and they'll leave a review saying why they didn't read it. But sometimes that review about why they didn't read it is another reason why somebody would read it. I just feel like sensitivity readers are just another reason to like change the way that people talk to each other because they don't like it.
Right. I think that's really true. And if you have a character in your book who is African American or blind or gay, ask someone who is African American or blind or gay or all of the above or a couple someone's to read the book.
That's my plan, because right now in this book I have 3 character perspectives. The one character is transgender and one is asexual, and I just want to make sure I'm representing the experience. Like, I know no one ever has the same exact experience on everything, but I want to make sure that like it's accurate enough that like people wouldn't be like, wow, like, because I've read books where people, like, we all have seen like those Twitter accounts where it's like men writing women and men get women so ridiculously wrong. Or we've read, I know I've gotten mad at like Rainbow Rowell because she gets like bisexuality so wrong. And like a lot of times I'm like, this is weird and wrong, and I don't want to do that to someone else, you know?
No, right. You really don't. And I think that's why it's really important to have, you know, to have readers of any, you know, if you have a character that's, you know, a main character that's been sexually abused, get some information about that before you, or raped or whatever, or grew up in an abusive household. Actually talk to human beings who have experienced that, so that you are right, so that you're respectful of that experience. Don't,
I guess the term sensitivity reader I don't really like, because it does imply that they're trying to change like but I just like, I guess I don't know what the term should be then.
How dry is your writing going to be too if there are no in jokes, if there's no right?
And then there's like, and then there are people who are kind of like, well, this book is going to make people uncomfortable. And I was like, How to Kill a Mockingbird made people uncomfortable. Huckleberry Finn made people uncomfortable. Like, they do it on purpose.
To an extent, feeling uncomfortable is like an emotional response, and like you're not supposed to feel happy every time you read something.
Right, because that's not necessarily the goal of some book. And you know what? Like, you have so I write romantic comedies, and most of my you know, I certainly have some of the kind of traditional romance tropes in my books, but I will say that there are, you know, the books where you have this sort of strong alpha male character and a more beta female, they're still like really popular. And even though those personality types, those sort of tropes are not particularly PC, they are something that readers actively seek out. And
that's true, like people still are going to enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. And that that's where you want that, or, you know, yes, absolutely. You know, you know, okay, I don't even have to go there. Okay, so Nihilist Geek, I keep wanting to talk about this comic because it's hilarious. Needs an insensitivity reader.
Oh, dude, I love the
insensitivity reader for you. I'm gonna send you a message later. Please, okay, that's hilarious. Yes, okay. And you're like, good, I'm going to put it in all caps.
No, how can I make it more offensive?
Yes, exactly. Right. Okay, so that's a really good answer. X group doesn't act like this, and this character is an outlier and does.
Yeah, that's
right.
True.
Yeah.
I had one person that gave me feedback in my, like, there's a character in my book who was actually saying like the dictionary definition of the word retarded, and she like lost her mind. She's like, you can't use that word. And I was like, it's not being used in the negative association. She's like, I don't care, I don't want that word in there. It's like, he should not be saying that. I was like, he's not even human, he doesn't care what you have to say about this. People just really latch on to like little key things, like,
they do. And while we certainly don't want to be unnecessarily obnoxious, we certainly don't want to be racist or whatever, but you also may have a character who is, and and
if you're showing them to be like the antagonist, then like then I think that that's a totally different situation.
And it's so weird when people will associate like one of your crass characters with you. It's like, this is clearly who you are. And I'm like, it's a character. It's made of fiction. And they're like, no, you are obviously condoning these actions. Like, girlfriend, I need you to sit down.
Yeah. Unless
people have never read a book with a murder before.
No, exactly. Introvert Sarah, I know, I'm sorry we went late today. So Introvert Sarah, thank you so much for stopping by. We'll see you next Wednesday. All right. Oh my goodness gracious.
Oh, sorry. I gotta go get a package. I'm gonna mute the microphone.
No, that's okay. All right, here. Well, I don't even know how to do that. Let's see. We'll remove Savvy while she's doing that. When she comes, oh, hold on.
You can bring her back.
I will, but I think I dropped her. Oh, I think she just. Okay, we're good now. I think she like dropped out. So, all right. Yeah. Does anybody else have any other questions before we get rolling? I think this is a really good topic. I think it was a really good topic.
I really like it when you get a whole bunch of authors together. It's like, okay, guys, let's talk about main characters. Like, okay,
yeah, I think that again, this is something that I really love about AuthorTube is that and there's so many different perspectives, which is it's such a useful thing. I mean, I've been in this for a long time, and I still learn things every single day on AuthorTube. All right, Savvy's back, I think. There she is.
Hi, sorry.
No, that was okay.
Tyler got a package, so yeah.
That's okay. I'm fortunate that my office is like as far as it can possibly be away from the front door, because I have this little dog. He's a little Havanese, and he sounds like a seal. He has the most obnoxious I have like a little sensitivity kind of thing, and he has the worst bark. I love him to death. He's like the sweetest dog ever. But
yeah, my dog goes wild when the doorbell rings, or not the doorbell, the like buzzer.
Right. So
Jace has a good comment. Sorry, I was just looking at it.
Oh yeah, no,
I've seen her videos. They're all really good. I think it's really nice that she's coming out and talking about those topics, because like not everybody does.
Yeah.
All right. Is there another comment it says
it says I enjoyed Frances Simone's videos on the bias of people getting over their own sensitivities when it comes to books. So she's another author, and she's also like a booktuber as well. So she's always got really good stuff on her channel.
I love her channel. I'll have to see. I don't think I've read that video or watched that video, but I'll have to do that. Yeah.
It was a good one.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, here it is right here. I'm going to come back to you, Portia. Yes. Okay. Fantastic. Oh, we should check that out. Francina Simone. I'm writing this down so I can try and
her channel's fantastic. I think she's one of like the first booktuber AuthorTube channels that I watched like years ago.
Yeah, she's got good stuff. And she's like, hey, let's talk about me and my kids. I'm like, cool, let's talk about you and your kids. Like, whatever.
That's awesome. All right. No, here's Portia again. Okay. So Portia writes mostly nonfiction, long form essay, and it's really hard to find readers because most of my writer community is poets and fiction.
Yeah.
That is tough. What if you're writing something and you don't have any beta readers? Where would you go when you were starting out? I mean, like I said, I just went to my immediate family in the beginning.
Yeah, I went straight to meetup.com and found a writing group. So I was just like, this is, and the nice thing about the writing group is that we'll edit anything from like essays to flash fiction. Somebody brought in a resume. Like we've proofed everything.
Yeah. When I started writing kids books and young adult, I went on the SCBWI, like Society of Children's Book Writer and Illustrators website, and looked for critique groups in Chicago because they listed like groups that were looking for more people. So I joined them that way.
Chicago has such a great writer community too.
Yeah, I love Chicago.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm totally having like a brain blank. Oh my gosh. Okay. So you're writing a transgender writer, or a transgender character. I know a fantastic transgender author in Chicago.
Oh yeah?
Yes. So I will, I'll send you, she's awesome. And I will send you, I'm totally drawing a blank, and I swear to God, it's just because I'm so tired.
That's fine. You can just like message
Her character is Bobby Jones. She writes this mystery series about a transgender hair salon owner who solves mysteries.
That's so cool. I
know. And I like her name is right on the tip of my tongue, and I kind of it will come to me Probably the second we go dark. Once we go dark, I will send it to you. And once I remember, I will put her name in the comments. I can only remember the name of the character. This is killing me. She is super smart, a talented writer. Jodi Picoult blurbed her debut. And
wow.
And yeah, she doesn't blurb very many debut authors. Yeah, we were completely blown away. She's great. She's a really good writer. So yes, I will connect the two of you because you're both in Chicago, and because she'd be like your perfect person to read that. Plus, she's just super involved in the writing community and like deeply kind and helpful. So yeah, she'll be awesome. So yay, that's awesome. Yes, Eva writes. All right. So I think yay. So I think you guys were amazing today. Yay. Thank you so much, everybody, for showing up. If anybody has like a last second question, that's good. But I know Carrow's like, TikTok, ladies, I got to get to my own stream.
Oh, I would have said something like 15 minutes. Like, you guys got to wrap it up. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the deal. Thank you. We will be here every Wednesday. Oh, here we go. We'll be here every Wednesday. Thank you guys so much for coming. And really, seriously, if you are lurking, this is your last chance to put your name in the comments so that I can link to your I can link to you in the description for our little group of regulars. So yeah. So okay, Carrow's got a stream after that. It starts in what, 40 minutes?
Yeah. No. Yeah, in 40 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. See? All right. Now look who's managing everybody's time. Huh? And be sure to check out Carrow's channel if you are not already a subscriber. You probably are. Be sure to check out Savy's channel and subscribe if you are not already a subscriber. They are awesome. And I'm so grateful to you guys for co-hosting with me today. This was so much fun. You guys are awesome. Wait. Joan Ninja says, yes, I have a question. What is it? Brenda's in the shower. What's your question? Wait.
He was asking about how, because in German, he looks like hi to us. So I just said he. That's what.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much. I think, okay. Locked Up Lucy says, link me. Yes, you got it. Sora, Brenda, go take a shower. I need one too, actually. Georgie, you're welcome. Thank you so much for showing up every week. I'm so grateful. And it's been so much fun to do this with other AuthorTubers.
Yeah.
Thank you, Carrow. Thank you, Savvy.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. And I'll see everybody here next week. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye. All right.
Wave.